On Yak About Today, I'm going on a rant, and Jeffrey Ginsberg on making a decision on some body tech. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm David-Yakir, and this is Yak About Today in Tech, where people of all ages can benefit from the technology around us. So listen up, because today we talk tech, and remember, if I can learn it, you can learn it. So people, I am getting frustrated with you all. So, listen to me. You tell me that you're not like your parents, but look and act much younger. But that's a debate for another time. You tell me that age shouldn't play a role in employment because of your years of experience and you still have something to contribute. You complain all the time about the next generation, the way your parents complained about ours. Now, I have a question. Why are we so averse to change? And why are we so averse to learning new ways of doing things? You know, each of those discussions are within themselves a whole show. And for years and years, I've been talking to you about technology and the role technology can play in your lives. In fact, my group has been to your houses. I've had you on Zoom. You've been on webinars. Yet, so many of us refuse to move into this century. So I'm talking specifically to you, the group 1946 to 1964. Those are the years you were born. Those are the years I'm talking to. This show is dedicated to you. And I'll tell you why I'm going on this rant. There were a couple of situations that really got me thinking about you guys, right? The first was your inability to have gotten your vaccine because you didn't know how to use your browser. So let me make it clear, right? So you got this notice saying that on Monday at 9:30 in the morning, you could go online or make a phone call. And I did this last week, right? So you go online and then you pick a time, you fill it out, you get a confirmation that you have a time. And all of a sudden, you're all complaining. I'm going on Nextdoor, and everybody's complaining. What the hell? You know, I waited to 9:30, and I finally got online at 9:35, and it was all gone. And you wonder why you couldn't get on. First of all, there were only a limited amount of vaccine out there. So they could only give a certain amount of shots. And second of all, you didn't know how to use your browser. Now, of course, when I ask you if you're tech savvy or not, you say, of course, I can do emails. I Zoom with my kids. And, I shop on Amazon and all that. And those are the basics. You know how to use the basic technology in front of you. But something as simple as clicking on the link that they sent you to make the reservation for your vaccine, all of a sudden, you're clicking on and you don't know where to go from there. When somebody tells you to refresh, I kept getting calls and tweets and all that. Well, I refreshed and nothing came up, and I told you to keep refreshing. And when I asked you how you were refreshing, some people told me they were opening and closing their browser. So technology can be really important here, but you have to learn how to use it. The other thing that really got to me this week is, I was talking about Alexa, and I've done this in shows past, especially when we used to do the technology shows on a regular basis. Back a few years, I used to tell you the value of Alexa, of Siri, of Google Assistant. And still, to this day, I seem to get a lot of rejection about them. So I thought I'd give you a fundamental little explanation. Right? So right now, Alexa controls all my lights, makes coffee for me, or turns on the coffee maker for me in the morning. I listen to any music that I want to on Alexa because I tell her what I want to listen to. And so Alexa's really serving me, how can I put it? It's making my life easier and better. Yet the same comment comes from you guys, and you keep telling me, well, I won't put Alexa in my house because it's always listening to me and I don't want it to know. So besides everything that Alexa can do, let's take the first step and just tell you that if you put Alexa in your house, the technology, the actual chips in the Alexa itself, and I'll do a very basic version of this, is programmed not to turn on, right? It listens for very specific words. In the case of Alexa, it's when you say Alexa. In case of Siri, it's when you say, hey, Siri, or in the case of Google, when you say, hey, Google, or actually, I can't remember it right now. But that chip then turns on the ability to go into their servers. So once you say, hey, Google, or hey, Siri, or Alexa, then all of a sudden it opens up that pipe and it's going to the servers, and you can ask it questions or tell it to do things. But otherwise than that, it's only programmed to listen to that word. And if you can hear in the background, because I said it several times, she's asking me what I want. But that's how Alexa works, right? So what else? Some of the texts that I got from you, let me just look through a few. Yes, I was sort of answering. I got a lot of questions about how we use technology. And, I keep telling people, if you understand it, I'll give you an example. Let me give you an example. If you knew how to use your phone, did you know you could save hundreds of dollars a year in your mobile plan? Because you don't understand how to use the phone, you're probably going after very expensive plans. Did you know that when you automate your bill paying, that companies will discount the bills so you can save hundreds of dollars there? Did you know that there's software out there that will search for the lowest prices on anything you tell it to look for? Or it will tell you that this is the lowest price you can get. And of course, you've heard the expression, there's an app for that. Well, my friends, it's because there is an app for that. So if you're on your phone in the App Store and you have some ideas of what you want to achieve using the technology, try searching for an app, right? But let me give you a positive that I'm really happy about. It's the one positive of the COVID pandemic, and that is it's forcing us to use tech so much more. So the more we Zoom, the more we're at our computer, the more we're searching, the more we're using the programs, the better we're getting at it. Anyway, you know what you got to do? You got to talk to me, people. You got to tell me your frustrations with tech, what you'd like to learn about tech. So why don't you get me at on Twitter at YakAboutToday. And of course, most of you are probably not on Twitter, but you are on Facebook because I know you're talking to your kids and posting pictures, right? So look for the Facebook page, YakAboutToday. And if it's easier, just write to me, david@yakabouttoday.com. By the way, Yak About Today does have 2 T's. So those of you who tweet me and tell me that you're writing to me on email and then give me the email address, some of you left out the T's. All right. When we come back, I've got Jeffrey Ginsberg here. Folks, David here. As we age, taking care of our eyes becomes increasingly more important, and neglecting them can lead to some serious issues. I know because I've had some of those issues, and back then, several people recommended New Vision Eye Center, and quite frankly, I never looked back, pun intended. I was so impressed with Dr. Minotti, the care and the attention, and more importantly, how everything was explained to me in a way that I understood. And from that day on, there was no doubt that New Vision Eye Center would be the ones that I trust. I'm proud to have them as a sponsor of this show because I wouldn't trust my eyes to anyone else.
Don't talk back.
All right, and we are back. So, a lot of people think, because I talk a lot about tech, and I talk about your tablets, and I talk about your phones, and I talk about your mobile plans, and I talk about how you use technology and the internet, and as I was talking about earlier, Alexa, right? We fail to forget that technology is playing other roles in our lives. So it means that there is so much technology out here. We have knee replacements and modern vaccines and implants and bionics and, of course, the myriad of drugs, which, if you live in areas like we live down here, the commercials show you that there's a drug for everything, the same way there's an app for everything. But there's one guy I want to talk to, because we're going to talk about something that people are actually shy or embarrassed about. And I've invited him here, and his name is Jeffrey Ginsberg. He's the founder and president of On Dry Ground. It's a marketing and business development consultancy where he interacts with a myriad of people. So this is something that became increasingly important to him. So, Jeffrey, you there?
I'm right here, David. Hi, how are you?
Good. Before we get into that, I want to let everybody know that, to be honest, we're actually very good friends. And one of the things that these are just side notes, so you understand how we carry on the conversation. One of the things that we do together is we walk, or some people call it a power walking. I used to call it wogging, if you remember, that walking jog. And by the way, I used to invite all of you to come wog with me down at Riverside Park or on the beach. And what I'll do is I'll let you know when I'm there, so we can all meet up there. Anyway, we walk. And in the process of walking, you talk. And the more you talk, the more you know about each other. And it doesn't matter how good friends you are, the more you communicate, the better the friendship is, and the more intimate the friendship is. So Jeffrey and I are aging at about the same age, although, no, he's actually, to be honest, he is much younger.
I'm much younger than you, David. Much.
Right.
I'm at least 3 years younger than you.
Anyway, but there was something that really caught my attention, and it's because, Bill and I have been talking about this a great deal. Bill has something, an ear canal thing, where he was having trouble hearing, and we had talked about hearing aids. And it's one of those things that your vision of hearing aids is sort of like your father or mother wore as they aged, these big, bulky things that hung on the ear. And, they always represented getting old. And therefore, people were constantly walking around today going, what? What'd you say? Or they moved to the other side of you because only one ear works. Anyway.
That's what you do, Bill. Sorry, Dave. That's what you do. We'll walk on the beach, and he'll say, you can't stand on that side of me. And I said, well, why? He says, because that's not my good ear. So meanwhile, I'm walking on the ocean side getting soaked while David is just happy walking along.
Yeah. And and it's funny because last year, that's the way we were actually walking and communicating. We actually kept switching sides to see which ears both of us could hear better in. So we'd keep trying different sides while we walk. But I specifically want to talk about the tech that's going into our bodies. The easiest one to talk about is hearing aids, and what it got me thinking, and of course this may be a minor discussion to a lot of people, but there were a couple of things you said. First of all, hearing aids are getting cheaper, they're getting better, they're getting smaller. Why are people embarrassed to wear hearing aids? And tell us the process. I mean, one day we were looking at each other, trying to figure out how to listen to one another, and the next year you come back, you take your house for the season, and there you are, hearing everything. Yeah. Tell me about it.
Well, I was tired of saying what, like the commercial. What? So I decided, I was going to bite the bullet, and I went to